Welcome everyone to the fourth video in this playlist of the MMO Asteroids game. So the first two were a couple of years ago, the last one was just recently, and then this fourth one is now looking at the next stage of our transition from single player to multiplayer. I should call it an MO, not an MMO. I think massively multiplayer is ambitious, but anyway. Asteroids MMO. So at the minute we've got it where everything's basically, we just tidied things up in the last episode just so that I can get it to a working state. We updated any dependencies and so on. And essentially we now have our code here, which is, kind of where we left it at the end of the last video. I think I just tidied up a few comments that maybe at the end of the last video that I didn't show. But anyway, we now need to look at moving some of this client-side information over to the server in order for the multiplayer to work. So, for example, the generation of asteroids, the generation of the ships, the players' ships need to kind of be on the server so that everybody's in sync, and then we just pass that to the clients rather than generating it on the clients. So what we're going to try and do in this video is move the asteroid generation code over to the server, pass the data down to the client, and hopefully we'll still end up with something that looks like this. Let's see how that works. So, okay, first thing we notice is on the client, we have an asteroid class. And the other thing to note about this is the asteroid class is heavily dependent on the P5 library. So all these methods here, translate, stroke, wait, stroke, they're all P5 related things, and we're not going to be able to use P5 on the server. We kind of have to do everything randomly. Not randomly, I was looking at this word random. We have to do everything manually. But the thing is also things like random is different. So random for P5 is different to the JS math.random. So even things like that we're going to have to change. So let's do that first of all. Let's go into the main root and create a new directory and call it classes. And let's at least create the asteroid class. So new JavaScript file, asteroid.js. Excellent. There we go. So we now, so that's on the client. Let's bring that over to the server. We'll keep the server side code on this side and the client on this side. Just makes it a bit easier to keep track. So let's create the asteroid class. We can just copy the client side stuff here. So we have a constructor of x, y, and r. So as we said, we can't use P5 methods like create vector and so on. So what we're going to have to do here is just have this.x equals x, this.y equals y. Oh, did I not return that? This.x equals x, this.y equals y. Okay. And then for the velocity, we're going to leave that for now. I'll just leave the client to, because the client just creates it randomly anyway. So we'll not bother with the velocity for now. The radius is r, so that's fine. All of these are hard-coded, empty, and then this is creating the random points, but we do need to change the random method on this. So why is this.radius highlighted? Duplicate. Oh yeah, that's fine because it's on the client side, so don't worry about that. So we need to put this into the math.random method for JavaScript, but this is different because math.random doesn't take parameters. So what we have to do is think about what we're trying to achieve here. So if you notice on the client side, we go from a from number and a to number, whereas math.random only goes from 0 to 1 in real number increments. So like a random number like 0.8196 or something like that. Now, so what we need to do is think about what we need to get to. The difference between minus noise and noise is obviously 2 noise, two times noise. So we need to get this to a range that covers 2 times that. So what I would suggest is we go math.random and we want to multiply that by noise and then multiply that by 2. So that gives us our 2 times noise, and the math.random then becomes the proportional multiplier against that, because that will be between 0 and 1. So if noise is 20, for example, here, so that will become 40, but then math.random will make that anywhere between 0 and 40, because, you know, if it's 0.5, it'll be 20, or if it's 0.3, what will 0.3 be? 12. So that'll give us that figure, but then also bear in mind that it's minus noise to noise, it's not 0 to noise times 2. So what we need to do now is wrap all that in parentheses and do minus this dot noise. So we get 2 noises multiplied by the random and then minus noise. I think that's correct. Have I done that right? If it's noise times 2, that gives us the full range. So that will give us 0 to 40. The random element will then bring that down somewhere. So if random was 1, then that would be 40, which means the maximum it would be is 20. If random was 0, that would be 0, which minus noise, which means it'd be minus 20. So yeah, that's correct. So I'm happy with that. And then, so apparently what we need to do now is module dot exports equals asteroid. I believe that's what we need to do. And then if we go back to the server, we should just be able to go, let's see, const. I want to kind of import it as a static method, a static class. So equals require, and then we do dot slash classes slash asteroid. Okay. So now we console log, we should, asteroid, we should get just like a static output of that, I think. Class asteroid, yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Everything else should be working fine. Yeah, all right, cool. So we have our asteroid class. Let's get rid of that. So now, what do we do with it? Well, we kind of need, as in the case of the client side, the P5 kind of has this setup feature where that's done. So we kind of need a, oh, we've booted the server, let's run a function kind of method. So let's see, this is all the web server stuff, this is all the socket stuff. So let's put it down here. Let's do function setup. Okay, and then we can call setup here. It's just easier to manage it if it's not just loose code. I'd rather put it in a function. So we can call setup. That, in fact, we could call setup further up actually, but anyway. So function setup. So let's see. We have a no, we don't have an asteroids array. So let asteroids equals a new array. Yes, I'm happy with that. And then if we, do we just copy this? Okay. I think the step one is let's see if we can get it generated on the server first of all before we do anything with it. So for let a equals 0, while a equals less than asteroid count. Do we have asteroid count? We don't. So let's copy that. Asteroid count is 10. Yep. So for a equals 0, while a is less than asteroid count, a++, asteroids dot push new asteroid, So the X is, now width and height are P5 variables. So for now, we haven't got like the playing field which these guys are going to play on. So let's just give them a random, well, not a random, but an arbitrary set of numbers there. Okay, so if we run setup, that'll run setup. And then if we do console.log asteroids, we should get some data. Yeah, that looks like asteroid data to me. The XY is 100, the radius 50, points 10, noise is 20. The random 10 numbers between minus 20 and 20. So that's superb. Yeah, we have 10 asteroids in that class. 20, sorry, asteroids. Was it 20? 10. 10 asteroids. I'm going to make it 2 just so that it's easier to debug and just not like overpowering the log whenever we do anything. Yeah, see, now I can just check 2 there. All right, cool. So I'm happy that the asteroids are okay on the server. Now is the tricky bit of getting it back to the client. So let's first of all comment out the generation of the asteroids here, which means we don't need that and we don't need that. However, we do need the local asteroids array because that's what we're going to populate from the server. But where do we populate it? Well, let's see the logic. A player makes a connection. The server says, yeah, I got you, which goes to the client. The client says, cool, okay then, now that you've got me, here's my token, just to authenticate who I am. That comes back to the server to want to authenticate, socket authenticate, and with the API token, I thought I changed that to token. Let me just change the name of that. Token. Okay, so we change that to token. We check that the player with that token exists. If it doesn't, we create the new player. So we create a new token. So we must remember to, we do pass the new API token down, cool. So that'll replace the wrong one if it's a wrong one. So we create the token, we create the username, we create the player object, and we put that in the player hash. Cool. And then we emit that player. Now at this point, we've authenticated the player. So I think this would be a good time to pass down other server data. For example, the asteroids. So let's see if we can do that. So here, authenticated, new API token, and also, let's just call that, I don't like API, sorry. Let me just get rid of that. New token, and then we'll call asteroids. That's better. Okay, into the authenticated front end. So now in the authenticated front end, socket authenticated token, I want asteroids. So other than, let me just reinstantiate. I just want to make sure it still works. So if I go to the browser here, reload, yeah, that still works, okay. So then let's comment that out and comment that out. That should still work with no asteroids. Yeah, so that's okay. So now in the authenticated, we have this asteroids. So now let's have a think. Let's copy this code down from setup. Okay. So we have a loop, and the reason why we need to do a loop is we need to insert the local client asteroid object into the local asteroids array. Now remember that server code and client code don't mix. So just because something is an asteroid class on the server doesn't mean it's an asteroid class on the client. It's just been passed down as data. These it will just be passed down as object data, not like a class name or anything like that. So this is effectively just like a normal object, not like a class instantiated object. So we want to loop over the number of asteroids. Now we no longer have an asteroid count because we're determining the count on the length of the asteroids array that we've passed down. So let's paste that in. Is less than asteroids.length and then a++. Let's just comment this out, make sure this works. Wrong one. Where's my browser? Let's just minimize that bit. Browser, there we go. Okay, that's fine. You'll notice I'm taking quite a defensive approach to getting this working, and that's because I've tried this once before and it didn't work. It kind of messed up and I couldn't quite work out why. So I'm attempting it again in a more defensive, with a more defensive strategy. So let's see if we can get this working. So we want to push into the local. I've just worked out what the problem is, why it didn't work last time. So we've got asteroids, which is this past here, but then this is the local instance, our local side instance of asteroids, which is here. And I've just realized why it wouldn't have worked last time, because we're passing in asteroids here. So what we can call this is, let's call it rocks, for no other reason than it's short. So let's save that. We got any errors there? Okay, well, no errors there. Let's see if this works. So this still works, so we've no errors there. So we do appear to have pushed it successfully onto the client. So why then are we not drawing these? Let's console.log asteroids. Oh, cannot read properties of undefined reading length. Oh, really? So socket authenticated doesn't send rocks? Let's console log rocks. We better get rid of the console log out the draw loop. Maybe we need to unpack it like we've unpacked this. Yeah, I think that's what we might need to do. So for let a equals naught, well, a is less than asteroids dot length a plus plus. So then we're going to so let asteroids data just equal an empty array, and we could say asteroids data dot push, and then we can put an object of x, which will be asteroids a dot x y radius. And then if we asteroids data, if we pass that instead, Let's have a look at that. Did that not restart? We got an error. So we're pushing 2 objects just with data. And then we push that down to asteroid data. Let's restart that. So on the client, okay, it's still working, but we're not getting console log rocks. We're not even getting that. It's almost as if, oh no, we need to send that to everyone, to that player. No, regardless of whether they're a new player or not. And because they're already existing, they're not getting that information. So, wrong one. So if we send new token, so let's get rid of rocks out of there, but what that means is we need to push this somewhere else. So we need to put this to server data, and then if we have a new method called server data with our rocks in it, socket server data rocks. Okay, so now we need to create that method. So we can say function socket server data, and that carries the socket and the rocks. We kind of need to generalize that out a bit more because obviously there'll be like players, unless we just call this rocks data. Anyway, for now we can get rid of that. Let's get rid of that because I don't think, oh no, let's copy it all. Cut that out, paste that in there. Let's see what happens here. We got any errors? Asteroids data is not defined. Okay, so that needs to come out as well. Okay, that's loading on the server. Let's load it on the cloud. Look at that. We have our 2 asteroids. Now, will the Safari version work as well? I don't know. No, so that's not sharing the same data. Okay. That's okay. It's initializing with the same data, but it's not sharing the data. However, I'm going to wrap this video up here because we've made a significant leap here. We've moved some data from the client to the server. So in future videos, we can synchronize it over the event loop. This is good. This is really good. In fact, let's see if we can put it back up to 10. There we go. There's our 10 spawning at 100, 100. Oh, that's good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Has it kept the other 2? Oh, because I haven't reloaded the page, have I? So there should be 10 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it should be about 10. All right, cool. So let's leave it there. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you found this video useful. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye bye.